Hi, I'm Guna Mathivanan. Welcome to Simply Current Affairs. Before going into today's editorial discussion, let us finish the feedback for the question which I gave in the last class. Friends, if you are watching this video series for the first time, then please watch my introductory video given in the playlist to know how to participate in this answer writing initiative. The initiative is open to all. We are coming up with our 75x75 exclusive current affairs program targeting prelims 2026 batch 2 from November 30th. For more information about the program, you can click the link given in the description, or you can visit www.simplycurrentaffairs.com, or you can WhatsApp to the number given in this video. Right. So the question which I gave in the last class is regarding the National Education Policy 2020, which has set an ambitious target of achieving foundation literacy and numeracy. Assess the progress made towards attaining this stated goal. Simple question, but most of the students did not exactly address the demand of the question. The question simply says NEP has an objective of foundation literacy and numeracy. Okay, assess the progress. Assess the progress means you have to assess the achievement as well as the challenges and give way forward. That's all. So start your introduction with National Education Policy, which aims to achieve various objectives for higher education and school education. And one of the important ambitious objectives is to achieve foundation literacy and numeracy by grade 3. Right, to bring life to this mission, government came with the Nipun Bharat mission, which aims to achieve FLN, foundation literacy and numeracy, by 2026-2027. Right, the program has achieved significant progress. At the same time, it also has its own inherent challenges. Then from there, you highlight the progress. You can mention the report as per the Annual Survey of Education Report 2024. Almost 50% of the children in the grade 5, they have achieved foundation literacy. Though there is a gap in foundation numeracy, but in foundation literacy, we are able to see improving progress. Because of this, the students' confidence is increasing and the mean years of schooling is also increasing. Right, the school dropout, the early school dropout is also getting reduced. Early school dropouts I'm referring to. So these are some progress. But however, there are some challenges. For example, the progress which we have achieved in the literacy, we were not able to achieve in the numeracy because of two reasons. One is the nature of the subject. The subject itself is hierarchical. So without understanding the basic levels, understanding the higher levels becomes challenging. Second thing is the teaching pedagogy. That has to be improved. Right now it is more on exam oriented, so that has to be improved, and we have to it has to be more realistic, more activity based, so that the learning outcome can be ensured. Okay, so this is going to be the problem with the numeracy. There are other problems also. For example, lack of sufficient infrastructure, lack of number of teachers, the teacher student ratio, and also the impact of pandemic. So all these are challenges which affects in achieving higher strides in the Nipun Bharat goal. Okay, then from there you suggest the way forward. So the foundation literacy has to be extended till 8th standard, because even at 8th standard we are able to say, as per the Pratham survey, even at 8th standard we are not able to see a significant progress in numeracy and literacy. Right, so we can extend the FLN till 8th standard. We have to go for FLN plus. We have to go for activity based learning. We have to go for outcome based learning, outcome based teaching and outcome based learning. Right, so these are some way forward. Then you give conclusion. That's all. Right, so here we have taken the answer of Kalaivani. So Kalaivani, in the introduction, foundation literacy and numeracy was initiated through National Education Policy. That is not correct. Foundation literacy and numeracy is a concept. Okay, a person who is able to read, write, do basic arithmetics, addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, we refer that as foundational literacy. That was initiated through NEP is not correct. I think you meant something, but you wrote something, I guess. So NEP sets a goal to achieve this FLN for children by grade 3. Despite several efforts, there is a persistent numeracy gap. Only 30% of the grade 5 student can solve basic division. See here, you have you have summarized everything. You should have expanded this. There is achievement, there is challenges. Okay, you compressed everything. The entire introduction looks like an answer, complete answer. You have to expand this. Anyhow, what is the progress made? So, learning outcome has been more formalized, more attention has been given to FLN, curriculum reforms, national education policy. So, national education policy aims to include activity-based learning. That is okay, but this is a promise made by national education policy. But how this is going to help in FLN? You have to link it. Teaching capacity building, FLN specific training like Diksha has been introduced. Okay, fine. Also, digital and multilingual courses are introduced. Digital multilingual courses are introduced for easy absorption of the content. But the question is regarding literacy and numeracy. There is language and numeracy, right? Digital intervention, introduce digital learning content, e-Pathshala. See, your points are highlighting the progress which we are able to achieve through national education policy. But here the question is more on FLN. Okay. So, that is something missing. Improved assessment system. Okay, we have an improved assessment system is fine. But in FLN, what we have achieved, that part is missing. FLN, what we have achieved. Now, despite these challenges, FLN allied teaching practices are still not fully implemented. There remains a gap. Okay. Classroom lacks mother tongue instruction. Okay, maybe that is also one reason for numerical gap. Many Anganwadis, primary schools, poor infrastructure, inadequate learning material, teacher shortage with over one. All these points are fine. All these points are fine. Despite the challenges you have highlighted, that is fine. But the question is more precisely hitting the FLN, not very, very generalistic. So the progress also, it's better to highlight in FLN what progress we have achieved. In FLN, what is the challenge? Now the challenge can be, everything can be linked with because of poor infrastructure, because of pandemic impact, because of lack of sufficient number of teachers, right? Because of lack of mother tongue instruction. All these can be attributed for poor absorption of numeracy. Great, but you have to link it. You have content, but you have to link it with the FLN, right? Then finally, achieving universal FLN will require sustained state level effort, better teaching support, strengthening early childhood education, last mile implementation. So you could have separated this again, but still it's okay. You have brought in way forward and conclusion together. That is fine. If at all you could have separated, that would have been even more good. All right. You please go through the answer key. Okay, you will be getting an idea. Among the others, your answer was reasonably better. Okay. Fine. So now let's move on to the today's editorial discussion. So we have taken editorial topic from the Hindu. The topic deals with POSH Act, Prevention of Sexual Harassment at Workplace Act. See, sexual harassment at workplace is a global problem. This harassment leads to depression, anxiety, post-traumatic stress disorder, career disruption. Because of this, women might not come forward to participate in the labor force. So that is going to potentially affect the labor force participation. This will affect the inclusive growth. At one point, people might think anyhow women is not having a safer environment at the workplace. So why to invest on higher education, specialized skill training on women? So this will take us more backward. Okay. So a civilized nation should ensure there is no harassment, particularly sexual harassment. Any form of harassment is not correct. Sexual harassment is the most worst form of harassment. Okay. So to address this, government in India, in 2013 came with a special legislation, Prevention of Sexual Harassment at Workplace Act 2013. So this act is actually defining what is a workplace. This includes both organized as well as unorganized sector. Okay, so harassment in organized and unorganized sector, everything will be taken into consideration. Even as per this act, you are dwelling at your house. For your housemaid, your house is a workplace. Any harassment in the workplace will be taken seriously under this POSH Act. Alright. So the act also comes up with setting up of committees, internal complaints committee as well as local complaints committee. That is, the organization should have an internal complaints committee. So any complaint about the harassment will first go to the internal complaints committee. Similarly, at district level, every district will have a local complaints committee, where people working in unorganized sector or someone is not finding it difficult. Let's say I want to give a complaint against the boss only, then internal complaints committee might not be safer, maybe from the perspective of the affected victim. So maybe the victim can go and give a complaint to the local complaints committee at district level. Similarly, people working in unorganized sector, they can also directly go to the local complaints committee and give the complaint. So this POSH Act is creating an institutional mechanism where the sexual harassment complaints can be taken up, inquiry can be conducted. The internal complaints committee will be having the powers of a civil court. Okay, so it's an effective mechanism which was introduced by the government. But however, the author is highlighting the ineffectiveness. Right, though it is a well-intentioned legislation, but however there is systemic problems, structural issues. So one by one we will try to understand the issues highlighted by the author. See, number one is with respect to consent. Okay, so when a woman gives a complaint to the internal complaints committee is nothing but a committee made inside the organization. So there is an IT company. In the IT company, you will have a committee called as internal complaints committee. So when a woman goes and gives a complaint to the internal complaints committee, most of the time the committee fails to realize that harassment is not an accident. Harassment is not a one-time act. Rather, it is a consequence of a series of manipulation, series of psychological manipulation. Even this act is failing to realize this, right? According to the author, so when you read the act gives us an impression that sexual harassment is something like a one-time event which happens, complaint has to be given, action will be taken. But we have to understand there is power imbalances. Think about an institution, organization. Think about the power imbalance between the boss and the employee. Think about a college or a school, professor and the student. Okay, as per the POSH Act, it also takes into account of educational institution as workplace. Right, so these kind of sexual harassment, it starts with psychological manipulation. Maybe at the day one, the relationship may be based on some consent, but maybe only after a few weeks or few months, the girl would have realized that she was subjected to psychological pressure, manipulation, coercion. So she wanted to come out of it and she gives a complaint. At that time, if you go and ask, did you give consent at that time? Right? Literally, it means yes, but that is not the actual issue. So when the internal complaints committee asks about the consent, yes, initially there could have been a consent given, but however that was due to the severe manipulation, psychological manipulation, power imbalances. So this aspect has to be taken into consideration. So we have to redefine what is this consent in the act. See, number two, with respect to the time limit. So as per the POSH Act, you have to give a complaint within 3 months of the act. Sexual harassment has taken, within 3 months the complaint has to be given. See, as I mentioned, these kind of sexual harassments which happens over a period of time, it will build slowly. It is not going to happen in a one-time event. Okay, so what happens is once after realizing that she was subjected to harassment and to come out of the trauma, it will take some time. So if it crosses 3 months, if you cannot give complaint in the sense, that is not going to solve the very purpose of the POSH Act. Okay, the perpetrators of the crime, they are educational, they are educated criminals. They make use of the subtle grey areas and they play and they escape. That we should not allow it. Right. Similarly, the Act also has a softened language for the accused. So for example, you think about an incident, a harassment happening in a road. Okay, so there will be a victim, there will be an accused. Police immediately will come and they will call the person as accused who is involved in the crime. But if you take this POSH Act, here the accused will be called as respondent. The author is asking, why such softened language? This is diluting the seriousness of the act. Let us call the accused as accused only. Let there be investigation. That is how it happens outside, right? The police will term a person as accused A1, A2, A3. Then finally, after identifying who is the actual culprit, the others will be proven innocent. So till the person is proven innocent, why not we call that person as accused only? Why should we call it as respondent? So we have to bring the subtle changes in the legislation, right? And also the author highlights the proof of burden. So when a victim is giving a complaint, the victim has to prove the harassment. Okay, but as I said already, when the harassment starts with the psychological, emotional manipulation, how can we expect the victim to have, evidence, a physical evidence which can be proved in the internal complaints committee? So the proof of burden falls on the victim. So that is also that will affect the genuine victim to come forward. Genuine victim might think, okay, let's say I am the one who is subjected to harassment, but I do not have any proving mechanism. So does that mean that I should remain silent? So the committee should come up with some techniques, collect testimonials from others, right? And also conduct a kind of informal survey about the accused among the work people, so that a collective information can be obtained to take an informed decision, right? So such practices has to be incorporated. Similarly, to prevent the misuse of this legislation, for malicious complaint, penal charges are applicable. But however, this can also deter the genuine victims to come forward, right? Already genuine victims, they are finding it difficult to prove the harassment. The proof of burden falls on them. Okay. Now adding to this, if they are not able to prove it, and think about an organization, when a girl is giving complaint against the boss, the girl is not having sufficient material evidences. The boss can, using the power, can twist the case and can convert this case as a malicious complaint, and the girl can be punished. So this might deter. See, recently Economic Times has conducted a survey. In that survey, more than 30% of the respondents, they said that if at all they face sexual harassment, they will not report because they cannot prove it. And follow on the job is very, very important. Right. So this is the problem. And also, think about the digital crimes. Today we have disappearing messages, encrypted messages. Now, digital manipulation, digital harassment is increasing in the recent days, but the POSH Act 2013 is not having provisions to tackle those kind of cases. So the author says it's high time that we have to amend this act. Particularly, we have to define what is this consent. We have to expand the scope of harassment. We have to bring in emotional harassment, psychological harassment, digital harassment. We have to make the act more serious. The term respondent should be turned into accused. The time frame from 3 months has to be further extended, right? And proper training has to be given to the internal complaints committee. See, a committee is being formed by taking the workers from the same organization. Let's say an IT company of 1,000 employees. From that IT company only you make a team and call them as internal complaints committee. Without any training for investigation, how can they come up with a proper solution for this problem? Right? So proper training has to be given to the internal complaints committee. See, the success of POSH Act should not be based on the resilience of the victim or the discretion of the committee. Rather, the success should be based on the reliable legal processes. So if these amendments, if it is not considered, then the very intent of the POSH Act will remain unaddressed. So yes, this is what the author was trying to explain in today's Hindu. Now, based on our discussion, let me give you a question. While the Sexual Harassment of Women at Workplace Act 2013 is a landmark initiative, certain gaps prevent it from fully realizing its legislative intent. Discuss. 10-marker question as usual. Email us in PDF format. Once you send the email, in the comment section, please mention that you have sent the email. Okay. Right friends, I will see you tomorrow with another interesting editorial topic. Till then, bye. Take care from Guna Mathivanan.